Guess where we are? Besides being on a shaky avalanche slope, we are descending into Delta Canyon, aka the Fingers, on the east side of Mummy Mountain. You want to find out how we got to this point? Go to LasVegasAreaTrails.com and go to the Mummy Mountain Northeast page. Mummy Mountain NNE. And you'll see how we made it through the wilderness to this point. And now for our goal for the day is to head on up that ridge and head toward the edge of the Mummy Mountain cliff. You see it there on the right. The cliff begins to descend and then disappears behind the trees. At that point, we're going to see about descending and circling the north side of Mummy Mountain. We'll call it Mummy's Neck. And so we'll just see what it looks like up there. Haven't been up there before. I've been up to the edge of the cliff up there last week. Got caught in a rainstorm. The temperature went down about 20 or 30 degrees within 10 minutes. Wow, it was cold. But anyway, it's clear today. Much better views. There's the whole east side of Mummy Mountain. And here is that ledge. Beautiful ledge, but it's a frightening ascent to get to that ledge up to the left side. That ledge, by the way, just to let you know, it's the band of trees just below the summit cliff. And what a view. If you ascend the west side of Mummy Mountain, that's the best way to get to this ledge without a frightening ascent that causes you to climb a 10-foot vertical rock and with 100 feet vertical drop below you. And when you get to the top of that, there's an angled avalanche slope. So you're scrambling over the edge of that thing and up the avalanche slope. It is frightening. I've done it a couple times, but I swear I'll never do it again. Anyway, an easier way to get to this incredibly beautiful ledge with a wonderful view to the north, toward the 95 corridor and the Sheep Range, Gas Peak. Very, very beautiful. Better way to get there is go to LasVegasAreaTrails.com and go to the Mummy Mountain West page and ascend Mummy Mountain by that route. When you get to the summit, which is right above that band of trees, then circle around. In this view, it would be to your right, circle around the edge of that cliff face, and you'll hit that ledge. Easy, and very well worth it. Anyway, another route that I take up Mummy Mountain is right up this area. It's much more friendly. There's no exposure to speak of, which is nice. Exposure is where you could fall off the edge of something. And yet there is a mighty steep avalanche slope. And next time I go up that slope, I've done that about 3 times. And next time I go up that slope, I'm going to wear my 1-inch track spikes. So that's another approach that if I were to go up the east side of Mummy Mountain, that is the approach I would take, which is just to take this ridge and just hug the edge of the wash there. And at the top, you reach this point where you see that kind of forest that goes all the way up to the top. That's the avalanche slope. And it's not really difficult. It's just you're going up a very steep avalanche slope. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to go over the ridge today. We're going to go over this ridge. We're going to hit the cliff right at the edge of that cliff and see if we can circle around to Mummy's Neck and explore around there. Maybe there's an approach to the summit of Mummy from there. That would be really cool. If not, we'll at least explore that area a little further and just see what things look like up there. So that's the goal for today. And so we're heading down and then up the ridge and then angle up toward the edge of that cliff. Okay, here we go. Heading up the ridge on the far side of Delta Canyon. And, you know, it almost looks sometimes as I'm traversing an area that has no trail, it almost looks like there's a very faint level area that could have been an ancient trail, or maybe it's just animals, who knows. But, you know, notice how there's Delta Canyon down in the background, but notice how the ground here just barely looks like it's leveled off and could have at one time been a trail. Anyway, I'm going to try to keep to this. The way you can notice these trails is you don't look at the ground right in front of you, but you look in the distance and you see if there's any pattern of a level pathway. And of course there's been avalanches and there's been snowfall and tree fall, but you know, we could very well be on an ancient trail at this point, or a trail that has been very seldom traversed. I'm going to try to stay to this and see if it, you know, if there is a trail here, it's going to lead somewhere. And it's going to lead perhaps around the north side of Mummy Mountain. One would think that at some time in history, people would have wanted to circle around Mummy Mountain, and perhaps this was their ancient walkway. I don't know, but it's kind of cool when you're out in the middle of the wilderness and you see a surface that looks like it could have been an ancient trail. And let's just see if we can piece this together and continue along. Maybe it's nothing, maybe it's something really cool. Okay, onward. Continuing up that huge ridge on the far side of Delta Canyon, aka the Fingers. And just a note about my pathfinding strategy. And I haven't taken any classes, I haven't been schooled on this, but just having the feel of the wilderness. I look at an area and I know I'm on a huge ridge and I want to circle that ridge. I want to continue to ascend gradually, but I want to stay to what looks like a very logical route to circumvent this ridge or to head over this ridge. And when I pick out what looks like the most logical route, more often than not, what I consider ancient paths will appear and disappear along the way. And what I mean by an ancient path is just an area, I mean, if you look straight ahead and you see that opening in the trees ahead, right there, some blue sky, it's almost like that is a good target to go for. And as you go for it, there is you're more likely than not to find a level or more level area than the surrounding avalanche slope. And it's almost as if I'm not the first person to take this route. So I select a logical route, and perhaps I'm on an ancient trail. We'll circle around, look behind, and I've pretty much been, you can hear rocks falling. I've pretty much been on a gradual route, heading down, well, heading up this way. I'll head back down that direction, but basically we've got a huge ridge, and the goal is to head over the ridge. I haven't yet hit what I'd call the spine of the ridge. I know that the cliffs on the eastern side of Mummy Mountain are up here, and what I'm imagining is when I get around to the edge up there, I will be able to circle around and I will be on Mummy's neck and perhaps circling around the north side of Mummy Mountain. Who knows? We will find out soon. Okay, there is a very faint but unmistakable trail heading toward that rock formation. It appeared in the middle of nowhere, and here it is. You got to look really carefully to see it, but here we are going in this direction. It passes under those trees that are at an angle there and continues on. So unmistakably, this is a route that people or a lot of animals have taken in the past. And so I'm going to see if we can piece this together. I'm going to head toward that rock formation up there, and that promises to come out into the opening, and we'll be able to look around. This ridge up here, beyond this ridge, is actually the neck area of Mummy, and we may be looking at part of the head, that rock formation straight ahead. So this is exciting because we're going to discover this area here as we approach the north end of Mummy Mountain. So let's just see where we are. We'll keep skirting this avalanche slope until we reach that rock formation. Then we'll look around. Okay, here we go. Here we are at the rock formation. Maybe it's got a name, I don't know. But as we look around now, we've come out into the open. And there is the north side of Mummy Mountain. And, well, as we look around here, there's the very northern tip. And the question is, if we were to try and circle around this north side, and then ascend the Mummy Cliff to the summit of Mummy Mountain. It looks mighty rugged. I'm not sure that there's a way you can walk up that area unless it's somehow to descend into this valley, which is a huge descent, and then ascend up the other side there, and then take a left, and maybe you can circle around the other edge and make it up to the top there. I don't know. Just getting down this area could be very difficult. This looks like, well, it looks like an avalanche slope / cliff. Look at these bristlecone pines. They are simply beautiful. So once again, we're in a largely untouched area. I don't even know that this has a name, but if Mummy has a neck, it's right down in that area. And if Mummy has a head, which, yeah, you can see from other angles, you can see the head of Mummy. In fact, that would be it right there. The very tip. If you go to LasVegasAreaTrails.com and look at the 4 Peak Circuit page, look at the slideshow on that page, you'll see an amazing silhouette of Mummy Mountain, and you'll see this feature from it's from the south ridge of Kyle Canyon, approaching Mount Charleston, or Charleston Peak. And this indeed, I think, looks like a mummy head when you're looking at it from that direction. But the question is, wow, this is rugged area. And can we descend all the way down and then ascend all the way up? That's almost a day experience right there. Look at this bristlecone pine here. So it looks almost like a bonsai. It's what everyone wants their bonsai to look like. And there's a spine here. We were here last week. That's the closest thing that I would say is Mummy's left arm. If you're into body parts and trying to label these ridges as part of Mummy. Anyway, yeah, here we are. And so I'll explore a little more around this. We'll go to the other side of this rock formation and just see what the world looks like from there. And kind of scope out this area. I don't feel like descending all the way down and then ascending all the way back up the other side. That's just too much for one day, being that this is already my 3rd hour out here. In fact, I'm into the 4th hour. So anyway, maybe I'll head up Mummy's arm and take a rest there too. Who knows? We'll just explore around here and see what we can see. North side of Mummy. Okay, here we are on top of the rock formation, and definitely we'll have to come on a day that's more clear, because I believe there's some fires in California, and we're getting the haze from those fires. But you can see the Mummy Eastern Cliff. There's just to the left edge of these rocks there's a little knob over there that would be Mummy's Knee. And then from there you can head over to Mummy's Toe. Now let's see if we can get a shot of Mummy's Toe from here. Yeah, right through the bushes here. There is bushes through the bristlecone pines. There's Mummy's Toe. And once again, that area between Mummy's Knee, Mummy's Toe, you can, look those routes up on LasVegasAreaTrails.com. That's one of the most beautiful areas in the Spring Mountains. But I got to tell you, we are standing on another very, very beautiful area between the basalt rock, the bristlecone pine. Let's see if we can just get a view of the eastern cliff of Mummy Mountain. Once again, starting at the toe over there. And then here's the eastern cliff. And then you can see the base of where I am. Boy, it really goes down. But here's the feature that would be Mummy's Head. So if you wonder what Mummy's Head looked like up close from this side, the eastern side, there it is, Mummy's Head. Doesn't look like a head at all from here, but when you're on the other side on Charleston Peak and the south ridge of Kyle Canyon, yes, it definitely looks like the head. And then you see the incredibly beautiful bristlecone pine forest all around us. And you can see how, it goes down. And there is, there's probably a way down this avalanche slope and then up the other side. But I tell you, that could be an overnighter because it's not an easy one. And then, here we are looking out in this direction. And again, we are in a very hazy atmosphere here. But I believe we'd be looking down into Lee Canyon, right down in that area. In fact, let me zoom in here. And what you're looking at right there is the parking area for the Bristlecone Pine Trail. I think. I could be wrong, but that just may be it. Yeah, that's right in Lee Canyon. So, yeah, so I imagine that faint trail that I found up here might be a trail that people take from the Lee Canyon area and come up to this spot, which is a destination spot. And actually, if you go up to that hill, that green hill straight up ahead, which we'll do in just a bit, that would be the destination for this climb. I don't think many people do this from the North Loop trailhead as you're traversing a lot of wilderness, but I do think there's a more direct route from Lee Canyon, and there's probably a name for this trail and this location. Very beautiful. We'll see if we can find that from Lee Canyon, and I bet it's a lot shorter, and you still get to be standing in this area and see this incredible view. So anyway, here we are at a northern point on Mummy Mountain. We'll circle around a little bit more. Look at that bristlecone pine. Wow. It's just you couldn't invent this in 1,000 years if you tried to make this shape or draw this, create it. No, wouldn't work. But there it is. And they just don't end. You know, there's one beautiful shape after another in this area. These bristlecone pines are so beautiful between the green and the almost driftwood appearance of some of the branches, and you know how they can retain their life when it's like some of the pine went in a couple directions over here that didn't work out. And so it just took a turn to the left and decided, okay, my life is gonna go in that direction. Kind of like what we do with our lives, but you can see the trees doing it also. Life doesn't work out in one direction, so you take a turn, and these guys are masters at taking a turn when life doesn't work in one direction, and that's why they live 3,000-4,000 years. This little pine is probably in the 500 year, maybe 1,000, but I'd say 500 year age range, and it's gonna keep on growing. Okay, so enough of bristlecone pine philosophy. You can learn a lot from a bristlecone pine. Okay, so anyway, yeah, boy, that cliff looks imposing. Definitely not going to climb that. But there is an ascent. I have ascended. There's that area on the, we'll look at it when we get up higher in a bit. But there's that band of trees below the very summit of Mummy Mountain. And that's one direction we've ascended before. And then another direction is pretty much up this area, and I'm not sure from where I'm looking here if I can nail that. I think it's kind of hidden, but it would be somewhere to the left of that cliff that's on the right. So anyway, okay, onward. Well, we circled around to Mummy's left arm, and this is the point at which we had arrived last week when we got caught in a horrible thunderstorm. Anyway, just looking around, very hazy today. In the distance, those mountains, you can barely see them, just a little silhouette. That would be La Madre Mountain. And then there's, closer here, there's Fletcher Peak. Here is the ridge, a high point above. It's just off the North Loop Trail and above Rain Tree. Beautiful views. Well, you see what is here. and then down in this area, there's where the Beast is parked, and that's the North Loop Trailhead parking area. And then up above it is the Mount Charleston Observatory. And then everything else is just blanked out. So let's circle around again past the viewpoint above the North Loop Trail. head and or above the North Loop Trail, and just above what I call Planet Switchback. And then there's Fletcher Peak, and we zoom in on Mummy's Toe. And then along Mummy's Knee, very beautiful stretch between the little rock knob on the right and Mummy's Toe on the left. Incredibly beautiful stretch, but so is this. On this side of Mummy Mountain, largely untouched, bristlecone pine, basalt cliffs, beautiful. Okay, and there we see the very summit of Mummy Mountain. And there's a band of trees just below the summit, below the summit cliff up there. And the left side of that band of trees is where we ascend to reach, I think it's this canyon right here. Yeah, this canyon is one of the ascents. And you head up that canyon and then circle over to the right and hit that band of trees. Before you hit the band of trees, you have a frightening ledge to summit, but then you reach this area here after you make it on that ledge with the trees. Very beautiful, generously wide ledge, and there's the path to the summit, and that's very easy to traverse once you get to that point. And you can come down from the summit and just have a picnic lunch on that ledge of trees below the summit cliff there. And you're in the shade, most likely, and it's incredibly beautiful. And then circling around, here is the, approaching more a northern edge of Mummy. And around this way, we were looking at Mummy's Head just a bit ago. There we are. And then down into Lee Canyon, and right down to the Bristlecone Pine Trail parking lot. I believe that's it. Right in the center there. And then we'd circle around and check out the view again, but it is very, very hazy. You can't see much at all today. We'll return here and get a better view. Okay, I'm gonna head up here until I reach a dead end or a place that I need to begin climbing along the edge of a cliff, and I will not do that. But let's just see how far we can get easily. Okay, here we go. Well, we're definitely at the end of this route. Let's call this the Mummy's left elbow. And down there is the armpit. So, yeah, we're not going to be able to proceed any further here. We're on the cliff edge. Sheer drop over the edge of this down into the ridge above Delta Canyon. So I got to be very careful. This is not a very generous spot to perch upon. Here's the ridge I just ascended. And this is about the limit for my comfort level, being a trail runner and not a rock climber. I'm sure there are people who could just climb right across over the edge of this and feel very much at home. That's not me. So anyway, this is where we are, and this is the limit for today. I will return here sometime when it's not so hazy. It is just very hazy from those fires in Southern California. You barely see the silhouette of the La Madre Mountain behind Fletcher Peak there. And here is an awesome view of Mummy's Toe. I think we might be a little above that elevation, which is that's about 11,100 feet. And the summit of Mummy right up here is 11,500. So we're around 11,100 feet, and there's 400 feet more to reach the summit of Mummy, but one is not going to do that from this location unless you have a helicopter. So anyway, that pretty much wraps up the high point of today that we have reached. Now we need to inch our way back down without going over to the right or the left, which is, I'd call this the razor's edge, because it is not a very generous ridge here. But before that, I'm going to take a rest, refresh, and then head down. Okay, here we go.